Are you ready? 20 seconds start now. Ten seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
Sorry, I got distracted by the comment over there. I see it and I started laughing, so I didn't want to laugh when I was popping on the air. But we are live right here, myself, my buddy Cheese. We are on the Lights Out Sports Podcast. We'll get to that comment and all of your comments here in just a moment. Thank you all for joining us here. We are going to talk about a ton of stuff, but before we get into it, Cheese, how you been, buddy?
Well, Mike, I have been things and I've been stuff and things and stuff. How has Mike been?
I mean, I can't complain. We are, as you know, my wife and I are getting ready to take a vacation. We're going to go back to the old stomping grounds where we used to live. We got people coming over to watch the house. We got, we're packing up. We're getting everything put together. We're throwing all the stuff in the vehicle because we're driving cross country. So,
you're not going to stop in Texas, apparently.
No, we will barely be in Texas. So, I don't know. Maybe on the way back we'll stop by the cheese plantation. I'm sure it's a huge place.
So you have people staying in your house while you're gone, but you didn't offer it to me, is what you're saying.
I did not.
Yes.
If you would like for me to do that in the future, I will keep you in mind for that, sir. But my daughter's going to be here taking care of the animals and all that stuff for us because we got a mini zoo inside this place.
Oh, we know you have dogs because they bark sometimes. We can hear them.
They do. When my wife comes home during the podcast, they go crazy. Yes, you're 100% right. Oh man, so Roger, I can't do it because we're going to have to. We will talk about the Reds later on in the podcast when we get to our baseball segment here. We're going to do the football stuff first because we got a lot of
the Reds ERA, the Reds pitching. What's going on with that?
We'll talk about it.
We will talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Yes, it is in the crapper right at the moment. There's a reason for it, but it's going downhill fast, and there's getting beat by the Royals at home 2 games in a row. I assume that means they lost today as well. I know they're getting beat 3-0 earlier, but I was prepping for the show, so I stopped watching. But we'll see.
Probably smart.
Probably so. All right, we'll stop that in the back. Cheese, before we get into anything else.
Yes.
Did you see that the cover for the new Madden game has leaked? Did you see the cover?
I think it was Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini holding
this one.
Yes.
The cover has leaked, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That would be epic. Oh my God. They would sell a record amount of copies. That would be awesome. If that was true, whoever made that meme, bravo. Whoever made that.
That is so sweet. I mean, look at the two. Don't they look happy?
Reminds me of the Coldplay concert.
Yes.
Remember that? Yeah, remember that thing? Yeah. Two people cheating on yeah.
Doesn't that look like, cheating and regret right there? I mean, come on. Anyway, okay, I got to take that off. I can't do that much longer.
That was good. I didn't know that was coming. I actually guessed because I saw the meme. I didn't even know it was coming. That's why I laughed so hard. Down 3-1. Man, the Reds. Yeah. Everyone goes through rough stretch, though. Even every team that wins the World Series goes through a rough stretch. So You never know.
It's true. It's true. You never know. You never know. All right. So we're going to get into a bunch of stuff here today. We are going to talk about the Brewers. We're going to talk about today is Lou Gehrig Day in Major League Baseball. We'll talk about that a little bit. Is the pass rusher, I should say, the second most important position in all of the NFL? We'll answer that question here in a few moments. We'll look at the Steelers and who they signed today. We'll look at Atlanta and who they signed today. We'll look at the two big trades. And then the New York Giants signed a couple people as well. So we got a lot of football stuff to look at. As we already said, we're going to do Cincinnati Reds in baseball. We're going to look at the Milwaukee Brewers a little bit. We're going to do a trade candidate today. We're going to start doing this once a week. I don't know if you'll do it the weeks that I'm going to be out, which will be the next two. By the way, for everybody that's listening, you're like, oh, no. Actually, I know everybody's cheering right now. They're like, yes, he's not going to be there. But we'll have Sirhan next week, who will host the show, along with Cheese. And then the week after that, Mr. First Down will be sitting in this chair, and he will host the show both times with Cheese. And then I'll be back 2 weeks after that. So, yeah, it'll be a great time to see. Maybe it'll be one of those times to where you'll appreciate me more if I'm gone. Maybe, but I doubt it. Those two guys are great, and they'll be a great host for you, sir.
Well, I made a Titans video I released today, and I haven't heard from Mr. First Down. I know he watched it, so that can't be good. So who knows? We'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Sure you will. Oh, man. All right, but before we get into baseball and football, what we have to do first is get into the fire, because we got to do the 5 Flamin' 5 in 5. Let's explain. I give Cheese 5 minutes on a clock. It has a bunch of flames around it. They close and close and close, tighter and tighter and tighter around him.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm. As long as it's not me, sir. That's why I'm the host. Anyway, so when I control the graphics, I got all that good stuff. Yeah, there's an advantage to doing all that. So as we go through the 5 minutes, he has to get all 5 questions right. If he does, then he gets a bonus question. And if he doesn't, I guess I just finished the show out by myself. So we'll see what happens here. Nothing will actually happen until I read the first question. And Cheese, if you're looking at your notes, I'm going to flip the first and the second question because the second question is a little longer. And it'll be a little bit longer of a setup. So I want to do that one first to give you the most ample time on your 5-minute clock timer. So that means, ladies and gentlemen, that we are actually going to start out with an NBA question that doesn't really center on the NBA, but, well, you'll see what I mean. Cheese.
So the viewers may believe I look at the notes. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. Who knows?
Hey, if you don't want to, that's up to you, buddy. I today I was rushing around and I did a lot of different things. I worked a different schedule this week because we're going on vacation, so I had to do some different stuff, and it's not giving me as much free time. So I rushed through this a little bit, but I still think it's going to be a great show. We got a lot of great topics to look into, and that starts right now with this 5 Flamin' 5 in 5. Cheese.
Yes.
Here we go. All right, hang on. You know what? I say here we go, but I don't really mean that because I don't have the music queued up. So,
Okay.
Yeah, we got to do that first, right?
Don't keep going up.
Right.
Well, not. Okay. A little worried because my phone was blowing up.
This happens every once in a while. Hang on. All right, sir. All right, so that happened. I hit the music. Sometimes when I hit the music, we can't hear you. We really couldn't hear whatever you just said. I apologize, sir. I don't know why that happened.
Oh, no, it's okay. It was meaningless.
It wasn't meaningless?
Yes, completely meaningless. It was not important at all. It was the least most important thing that will be talked about tonight.
All right. Well, okay. We'll go with that, buddy. So, this is going to be a great show. I can see it already. So here we go, buddy. The 5 Flamin' 5 and 5.
We're going to win an Emmy for this show. This is an Emmy-winning podcast.
Emmy-winning. Yes. Multiple Emmy. Anyway.
Multiple. Okay.
Cheese. The Golden State Warriors' Steph Curry has signed a shoe endorsement contract with a Japanese company. I believe it's pronounced Li Ning for 10 years. That extends his company globally or expands his company globally. Do you, Cheese, lose respect not just for NBA athletes, but any athlete who signs a deal with a foreign company instead of trying to sign a deal with an American company?
I mean, yes. I don't know too many of the details. I don't know if he had. I mean, I don't like anyone signing a deal with China. I obviously I don't like that. We've talked about this with international games in the NFL. I hate that they go there just because every NFL game, doesn't matter who's playing, brings millions into that city. Local restaurants, local hotels, like tourist attractions. It brings money into America, and I hate it going overseas. So I don't like that. I don't know the details. I never really liked Steph Curry. I always thought he was a phony. He acts like he's a nice guy. I always thought he was a DOS, but I just never liked him. So no, I don't like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the second one we'll do, and I'm sure you've heard this, frick them picks. The Rams don't care about draft picks, and they don't, but even though they don't, they're doing pretty well. You, sir, love draft capital.
Yes.
Are you coming around to the Rams' side? Even though their first-round pick was this guy named Jared Verse, who we'll talk about here in a little bit. What do you think? Are you coming around to that side?
So what Mike's referring to is they have traded their first-round pick something like the last 10 years, something like that.
Yeah.
They rarely pick in the first round. Jalen Ramsey is a perfect example. They give up a bunch of picks for him. And now they're giving up picks for Myles Garrett. No, I'm not coming around their side. They've won one title. They won one title where Matt LaFleur gave the game to the Niners, or they probably wouldn't have even been in that game. It would have been Packers-Bengals, but whatever. If they won 3 titles doing it in the last 10 years, fine. They've won one title. And most people have already penciled them in. Apparently, they've already. Do you know they've already won the Super Bowl next year? Apparently, they have.
Talk about that too.
Yeah. So we'll see. But draft picks are cheaper. They're young. They're typically healthier than veterans. So no, I'm not coming around at all. You build through the draft. That's the main way to do it. But it's certainly been interesting to see the Rams have somewhat success. Trading first-round picks.
All right, Cheese, we are going to talk about the big trades, but the Giants signed Odell Beckham Jr. and they signed Juju Smith-Schuster. Will this help the Giants significantly, moderately, or not at all?
Not at all. Juju Smith-Schuster separates worse than you do from coverage at this point in his career.
I can separate from a buffet line pretty well.
Yeah, so you're better than him. And Odell Beckham Jr., I mean, hasn't been good for 5-6 years at all. This is just, they're signing a bunch of veterans because they don't have a deep group, and they're hoping one finds the magic from 4 or 5 years ago. No, I don't even know if either one will make it. This is not at all. Not at all.
All right, so question 4 of 5. The Atlanta Falcons extended wide receiver Drake London. They did it 4 years for $141 million, with $100 million of that $141 guaranteed. What does this do for the Atlanta Falcons, Cheese?
Well, he's a really good receiver. This is a good move. And the fact that they got him at about $35 million a year sounds like a ton for a receiver. It really does. But it's still $5 million under Jamar Chase, $7 million under JSN. Is he as good as them? Oh, no, he's not. But he's still very good. And I think it's a smart move because the price will only go up. So get him now extended because eventually receivers, I hate to say it, are probably going to make 45, maybe 50 million a year. So great move for them. He's a very good young wide receiver, and he'll go up and catch anything. I think he might be the best receiver at contested catches in the NFL.
All right, so question number 5. It's an interesting quote from Jackson Dart. I can't wait to get your opinion on it, and we'll talk more about it here in a moment. This is the quote. The NFL is more tolerant of players who sexually assault women than they are players who support President Trump or worship Jesus. Do you agree with him?
Sadly, yes, I do. Especially ESPN. He said the NFL. That's kind of broad. I get that, but ESPN was just trying to call him out. It's a double standard. It's an absolute double standard. If he'd done it for Biden or something, or if a court, no, he would have probably been praised, and ESPN would say, "Hey, good for him." But because the media hates Trump, so yeah, I agree with him. It's sad.
Wow. Okay, and it is sad. I do too. I really do agree with him. This is something that I wanted to talk about a little bit more. I know you don't necessarily like your politics mixed with your sports, so don't get too mad at me here. And just so everybody else knows on the channel, this is a Valentine thing over here. This isn't a cheese thing. So,
I just hate politics so much.
I know. I'm not necessarily into them as far as that part goes, but. This is something that I think we need to talk about a little bit and kind of go through here. So I've got some other stuff, Cheese. He said the NFL is more tolerant of. By the way, good job for doing the 5 Flamin' 5 and 5 successfully. By the way,
so how did I make it? I didn't even
burst
see
into
the flag.
flames.
How much time did I have left?
You had like 3 seconds left, so you barely got it, but you did it, buddy.
Well, I saw it was under a minute when I started the question. I was like, okay, okay, good. I didn't die. That's good.
No, you didn't die. That's good. You can still see yourself in camera. That's fantastic.
Cool.
So his actual quote was, the NFL was more tolerant of players who sexually assault women than they are players who support President Trump or worship Jesus. I am a pretty big religious guy. It doesn't really matter who I support as far as the presidency goes, and we'll actually talk more about that here in a moment with something else that Jackson Dart said. But I really have to respect his point here, Cheese. We know in every sport, not just football, we know that in every sport there are players who abuse women and players who abuse drugs and players who go excessive speed and players who crash into people and they just kind of sweep everything under the rug and it all goes away and they continue to play, especially if they are good at what they do. So I have to say, Cheese, I'm even going to go this route. I 100% agree with Jackson Dart, and I'll add this. I got a little bit more respect for the guy after I saw some of these quotes he did.
There's a player who was drafted in the first round who indirectly led his reckless driving led to the death of the woman. When the story broke, Ian Rappaport comes on NFL Network. I turned it on and he said, the charges were dropped and it's not expected to hurt his draft stock, and then went on to the next story. But if you have the wrong politics, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. This could hurt the locker room. This would be the worst thing that ever happened to anyone. Politics is very divisive nowadays. We know that, but it's just like we're a country of free speech. You should be able to, if you love Obama, love Obama, right? That's good. That's great. Fine. If you love Trump, you love Trump. You're probably not going to agree on politics. Those two different people. But so what? I don't care. They have every right to do it. I don't like when someone comes out and talks. I don't like when athletes or celebrities, which celebrities do a lot, like Hollywood celebrities, but talk about politics and policy and whatever. But you have every right to like a candidate if you want to. And the other thing you said about Jesus, there's no religion that gets mocked more now than Christianity, and you're supposed to just take it. You're just supposed to take it. It's absolutely ridiculous. You're allowed to mock Christianity. You can do it on social media. You won't get suspended. You mock someone else's religion. I'm not going to say what religion. I think most of you probably know. You mock it once, you're a bigot, and they try to cancel you, and you get fired from your job, and you get kicked off that platform, or you have to you get a 24-hour notice, whatever. So I'm glad he brought up the Jesus Christ thing, because it's almost like you can't say anything as a Christian. Mm-hmm. And that's absolutely insane. This country is founded on Christian principles, and God we trust is on the dollar bill.
Right.
So I just wanted to say
that. I have in my wallet, by the way. Yes.
Yeah, and we are both Christians, and so obviously this means a lot to us, and
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I'm not trying to shove my religion down somebody else's throat, and I don't think Jackson Dart is either. He just
No,
made
I didn't even know he was Christian.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
I didn't know he was Christian.
So he also said, I don't know if you guys know where this whole thing came from. He introduced the president at an event the other day, and that's where this whole thing started, right? So when he did a press conference, did Jackson Dart earlier in the week, and he said, let me give you a few quotes here. He says, I love my country. I have extended family members who fought in wars. I have 2 uncles who have retired from the Air Force Academy. The presidency position is one I have always respected, regardless of political affiliation or political party. And again, I'm glad he put this whole. I'm sure this speech was kind of written out for him, but he put this political affiliation and political party thing at the end of it. It shouldn't matter, and it 100% shouldn't matter. He is still the president of the United States. In my lifetime, there have been some presidents who were elected that I didn't vote for. And I didn't, throw a big fit and, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that anymore. No, it's a democracy, and you got, that's how it all works out. So we get behind that president and we support that president as much as we can, and we move on with our lives. So what do you think about the other quotes that Jackson Dart did? And then we're going to get into what one of his teammates said and wrap everything up.
I love what he said, that he respects the office. That was good. I have a ton of family. I did not join the military. I chose not to because, I don't like when people scream in my face. If I would have lasted one day in boot camp, he would say, drop and give me 20. I'd be like, you drop and give me 20. Like, I would have told him to go where to go. So that's just not my
cheese. Got it.
I just don't like when people are screaming at me. I like rational conversations. But both grandfathers, father military. I have a lot of military in my family, so I absolutely respect that, and I understand that, and I respect the office as well. Like I said, I don't like politics. I don't, I don't like to affiliate myself with either party, because then you all the talking points, then you have to agree with that. No, I like to think for myself,
right.
But one thing I'll just say one thing I did not like about Jackson Dart's thing. There's one thing I didn't like.
Okay, what was that?
He seemed very passive. He didn't say, he should have said, he should have said directly right off the bat, I'm not apologizing for what I did, because I believe in what I did. I wanted him to be more direct in saying it. He seemed kind of passive. He said, a lot of uhs, like he was just trying to, not dig himself deeper with the people that are mad about it, but at the same time not apologize, like in between. I just think he came off more passive than he should have. I wish he was a little more direct, but I did like some of the things he said.
Right. So we got Roger here saying free speech only extends to not being punished by the government. Private companies can make their own decisions. Yes, private companies can do a lot of that too. That's 100% right. So I understand what you mean, but I also understand his stance in the whole thing, right? I'm sure there was someone or more someones from the New York Giants and the NFL going, okay, we're going to write this speech for you and you're going to read it verbatim, and this is, kind of thing. So when he was doing his and his, I don't know about, I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't watch the whole thing. It's on our X account. I will watch it later on because I really want to see what it was. The quotes that I grabbed were from the very first 30 seconds of it. So the whole 4-minute and some odd speech that he gave is on our X account. You can go to it at All Gloves Off XM and see it there. You can also see the one from Abdul Carter as well, also a New York Giant, where he says, let me give you a couple quotes. If he chooses to align with Trump, it's my responsibility, based on what I believe and what I stand on, to show the world that I stand against it. So I'm going to break this quote down for a couple times here, because I get what he's saying, but I'm not sure if I agree with it. What he's saying is, I don't stand with Jackson Dart. I don't like Trump. It's pretty much what he's saying, right? And I want the world to know that I don't like Trump.
Okay.
Now he's allowed to not like Trump all he wants, and he's allowed to not like the Lights Out Sportscast all he wants, or whatever, right? But is it his job to tell everybody? That's my question to you.
No, he's a little bitch. Like he handled it horribly. Like Abdul Carter, that's fine. You don't have to like Trump. A lot of people don't like Trump. Some people like him. A lot of people don't. And I get the reason why a lot of people don't. There are things about him that are unlikable. But at the same time, like text your teammate. You were in the same draft class together. Those were their 2 first-round picks last year. Text your teammate to do that and try to call him out. Like, can you imagine if it was the other way around? Can you imagine if a player did that for Biden and then someone came out and criticized him because he doesn't agree with Biden's politics? Can you imagine the backlash? They would be the most hated person in America. There's a double standard. And it's like Abdul Carter, like, I know he's young, but what a little bitch. Like, this is not how you handle it. That's I think what's lost on this is Abdul Carter handled this worse than anyone. And that's not how you do it. And I'm guessing John Harbaugh had a talk with him. I think he'll probably not be this stupid in the future, but it was just stupid. That's not what you do. You do not try to throw your teammate under the bus. It's not like Jackson Dart came out and did a press conference and listed everything he hated about the left or anybody against Trump, and he put on MAGA hat and it's like, this is MAGA country, woohoo! Like, he didn't do any of that. He introduced the president. Like, Abdul Carter, get a freaking life. What a little bitch.
Now, he did go on before you tortured him too much here. He did go on and do a few more quotes here that I'd like to read to you. And again, you can get this whole thing. This is also over on our X page. I want you guys to go there if you're a little more interested in this at All Gloves Off SM. You can see it on our X page right now. This again, going Abdul Carter about Jackson Dart. He says, that doesn't mean that me and Jackson hate each other or that we have beef. I sit next to Jackson every day, every team meeting. As long as we have the same goals as a team and our goals align, which they do, that's all that matters.
He didn't write that. He didn't write that. You know he didn't write that. That's what they told him to say.
Well, I don't know. That's just his quotes from his little conference that he had. I can't tell you who wrote what for him.
His initial reaction was pathetic. He was being a bad teammate. He could have texted his buddy and say, what's up? Why did you do this? He didn't. He made it social. He made it an issue. And of course, ESPN and Emmanuel Acho and all those people like that, they're, the far left media is going to protect him. Like, oh, of course, Abdul Carter. Like, what is Jackson Dart doing? And so he's going to get protected. If it had been the other way around, he would have been vilified. And that's what I have a problem with. And his initial reaction, that's not how you handle it. That's not how you respect your teammate. I don't like it, regardless of your politics. If it had been the other way around, I would have hated it too. I just don't think Abdul Carter handled it well. And I don't think he wrote that. I think he was told by the Giants PR team to write that. And,
you and I are not going to agree on everything we talk about on this show. We're not going to yell and scream at each other. It's one of the reasons why we get along so well. You said it earlier when you were talking about the military stuff. I don't want anybody screaming and yelling at me, and I'm never going to do that to you, and you're never going to do that to me, and we're not going to do that to our fans. We're going to have, we're just going to talk about it. We're going to be civil about it, and we're just going to say at the end of it, maybe we just disagree, and that's okay. We don't all have to agree on everything, because if we did, Cheese, this place would be boring.
Yeah. Agreed. You said it best. I have nothing to add to that. That was great. That was well said, Mike.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Since we'll wrap it up right there, right? You can't wrap it up any better than that. So I tell you what, Let's do our NFL 4 down territory. Here we go. Buddy, we got a lot of stuff to get to here with all the trades that are going on. We were going to start with the A.J. Brown trade here in a moment. Then we'll jump into the Myles Garrett because, as you know, I'm sure you have looked at the notes and you love everything that you've seen.
Sure, I did.
We are going
to. I looked at the notes. I always do. I always,
Right. We're gonna get into some weeds here when we get to the Myles Garrett trade because I got some stuff I want to discuss. I heard a lot of things. We're even gonna have a Pat McAfee video that we'll display here in a few moments and everything else. So we got some stuffs to do here, buddy. All right, first of all, let me get this comment out here.
Got a comment.
We do.
Cool.
Bodkins. By the way, if you haven't seen it, I was on his show on Sunday.
I did see it.
Go ahead.
I did see it. He likes the right teams.
I told him that he was going to have you on the show because, you know, he does like the right teams. Chicago Cubs and Green Bay Packers. I was like, shoot, this is right up Cheese's alley right here. But yes, it was a great time, actually. I'll be honest with you. What are you cheering about over there?
Braves win. Braves win. They
Braves
made
win.
me
All right.
nervous in the ninth. They made me nervous.
Oh, yeah.
Being interrupted. They made me nervous. I was nervous. I wanted to win. We're winning. We're winning.
Oh, man. All right. John there, we got to get Cheese some background decorations. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been talked about.
Bobblehead in back of him. Maybe so, man. Maybe so.
No, that we're working on that. Me and Shauna, we're working on it. We'll get there. Something being worked on.
Okay. All right. I love it, man. I really do. That's and we talked about this off air. I have all this stuff behind me, and I know why you don't have it because we've talked about it before. But yeah, cheese.
I don't have
enough,
a permanent
ladies and
resident.
gentlemen. I mean, look at that. Look at that aura right there. This cheese is enough. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm going back to Bodkins, man. I like doing that. I was a little, he's probably still listening to me, so he can, comment if you want, buddy. I was a little nervous because I kept saying, okay, what are we going to talk about? What are we doing? And he was like, it's just like two guys sitting on a table at a bar having a drink. And I'm just like, oh, so we don't know what we're talking about. Oh, man. From a guy who structures everything in his entire life, it made me nervous. But you know what? It ended up being really good. We jumped around to a bunch of different subjects, everything from Bengals to Cardinals. We did the Mount Rushmore of the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, we did a lot of fun stuff on that show. And it was really great, really great. And I appreciate you, John, for your kind words on what we do. Tried to do it the right way and still get a point across. So, yes. Again,
You're not going to get like an unbiased opinion on ESPN.
Right. We
hate the four-letter word. You hate the four letters network. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So I know you want to talk about the A.J. Brown trade. I'll let you do that, and then we'll jump into Myles Garrett and some other stuff here in just a few moments, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah. So A.J. Brown, the worst, least kept secret in the NFL,
Right.
was traded to New England Patriots. They get a 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 second round. The Eagles do. So A.J. Brown, we knew this was probably going to happen. We knew he was going to be traded. We figured it was New England. That was the rumor. We're just waiting for June 1st because the Eagles could not do it before June 1st because they're so right up against the cap. They had to wait because after June 1st, you can spread the cap hit out and a trade or release 2 seasons, not just 1 year. So, okay. So,
and by
what
the
do
way,
you think?
Just so everybody knows, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. I'm going to work on this. I didn't realize there was so much stuff that was correlated with the June 1st deadline. I've got a lot of notes that I've taken over the last couple of days preparing for this show. And on my other show, The Sports Pulpit, we're going to go through probably 2 or 3 short podcast form segments there on exactly what you can do and how it's helped some teams and hurt some teams and stuff like that. So go ahead, sir.
So June 1st used to be 1 or 2 moves, but now I think every year we're going to see a lot of moves made. It's going to start being a big thing like on the calendar. You're going to circle it for the NFL. Like we might even have to do a hell no. Hockey is so boring.
Yeah,
we might even have to
hockey guy, buddy.
We might even have to go live on June 1st next year. We might have to.
We may have to.
It's becoming a bigger deal. And you notice that 2 big trades didn't happen until after June 1st for cap reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But A.J. Brown, once again, traded from the Eagles to the Patriots for a 2028 first, 2027 fifth. So, the question for you.
Yes.
We'll each go first. Okay. We'll talk about who do you think is the biggest winner? You can pick a team, a coach, a player. Who do you think is the biggest winner in this deal? Go ahead.
Oh, so I could pick anybody.
You can pick a player, coach, team. You could pick the fans, maybe, to get to watch something. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think's the biggest winner?
Well, I know this is probably going to sound like a cop-out to a certain extent, but I think AJ is the biggest winner here. He's been the guy who's been running his mouth saying, "I want to be the number one guy. I want to be a number one." Okay, here you go. You're in New England. They made it to the Super Bowl. They didn't win, of course, but they made it to the Super Bowl. You can be the reason that now they go and win. So shut up or put up, right? And it's going to be, I think this is going to be interesting to see if he can do that in New England or if he's just another wide receiver.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a winner from the same team. Drake May's the winner to me. If you watch in the playoffs, he was not good, especially against Denver in the AFC title game. The only one because Bo Nix was out. And in the Super Bowl, he was bad. And they were going against probably the two best secondaries in the NFL. And his receivers didn't separate. It wasn't just the offensive line. Yes, the offensive line didn't play well, but his receivers could not separate and get open. And A.J. Brown does that. He's very good at getting open. He can get open downfield. He's good after the catch. So Drake May, who almost won the MVP, and now people are starting to question him because when he went against good defenses, he failed. He now has a receiver that can separate from cover. So my winner is Drake May. John agrees with me. Who was your biggest loser of the trade, Mike?
The biggest loser. Is there one? I mean, the Eagles kind of get what they want. They get to get rid of all the turmoil that comes with A.J. Brown.
A.J. draft capital and get a lot of draft capital.
Yep, and they got some draft capital. You know what? You and I are the winners here. The fans, the fans are the winners here. Yes, we won. We won something.
Finally.
Right? The fans are the winners here because we don't have to listen to A.J. Brown anymore. And if he doesn't do what he has said he can do, then we get to make fun of A.J. Brown, and I can't wait to do that.
So my loser is Sean Mannion. That's my loser.
I don't even know who that is. So go ahead.
He is the new offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. When you watch them, because I rewatch a lot of games in the summer, I watch a lot of film. So many teams, when you play the Eagles, I watch the defensive formations. The safety move a little bit over to that side. Like you cannot let A.J. Brown just go off for like 10 catches, 180 yards. You can't, and he's capable of doing that. So you have to know where he is. He is, like I said, he's a yard after catch threat. He's also a down the field threat. Like he is a weapon. I think he's probably a top 10 receiver in the league. So you have to know where he is. They don't really have that guy now. So it might be harder on Sean Mannion, who's going to be a first-year offensive coordinator. He was the quarterback coach of Green Bay Packers last year. It's going to be harder on him because defenses, they don't have to put a safety over there. Their most talented weapon is a rookie, first-round pick. The second most talented might be a rookie second-round pick, Mekhi Lemon and Eli Stowers, but they're rookies. So, Devontae Smith, he's good, but is he really number one? I don't know. Probably not. So I think the loser, maybe Jalen Hurts too. Like you don't have elite number one receiver anymore. So that's my loser.
Now on your channel, which is what, Cheese? I mean, you've gone like what, 38 minutes and haven't said it yet? Oh, whew.
That's a record. Football with Cheese, CHEEZ, and you follow me on X at Football Cheese. Yeah, I'm doing a series of the 5 biggest off-season moves for every division each week. So I'm doing this off-season, and I just did the Tennessee Titans today. So I'm doing the AFC South this week. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my videos.
Right, and I'm a little behind on retweeting them, so I'll do a better job of it over the next couple of days here. Now that we're done with this, I apologize to you, sir.
You're one, but you're one behind. I'm going to forgive you for that.
Well, I am a little behind. Okay, there's a good question. How about this?
Any final thoughts on the trade? Any other thoughts about it?
Well, there's a final thought for you.
He's too small to be number one, Mekhi Lemon, or
I take it A.J. Brown.
No, A.J. Brown's 6'1", 225. Kidding me? I think he's talking about Mekhi Lemon.
He may be. Hang on.
The thing is, though, like Steve Smith was 5'9", 185 pounds for the Panthers. Of course, he was a freak, Hall of Fame receiver. So I wouldn't say that. Like Mekhi
look,
Lemon has number
so
one
he's talking
receiver
about
upside.
Smith.
Oh, Smith. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because he knew where I was going when I was saying on your channel, because that's what you say. Can Devontae Smith be the number one guy in Philly now?
I agree, John. Yeah. God, me and John are agreeing. This is weird. This is not like us. No, Devontae Smith is way too. You're right. He's too small to be a number one. They can both. If he goes against like Pat Surtain or Derek Stingley, they can just Sauce Gardner. They'll bully him at the line and knock him off the route. So I agree. Yeah, he's not a number one. So a lot of pressure on Sean Mannion, Jalen Hurts, and Mekhi Lemon to take over that role. They don't have any weapon as good as AJ Brown, but they're deeper. I'll say this. Their receiving core is deeper because they did sign Hollywood Brown and they traded for Dontavian Wicks, drafted Eli Stowers, drafted Mekhi Lemon. So they're deeper. They just don't have that really good number one. So weird.
Oh boy. All right, there's a lot of weird things going on this show today, but that's okay. Maybe it's because it's the last one for me for a couple of weeks, so we got to get this stuff out of the way. Anything else you want to talk about before we go into Myles Garrett? Because we're going to jump into some weeds here.
Let's go into Garrett. Yep.
Let's go into Garrett. All right, so Myles Garrett, there he is. He was traded on the same day as AJ Brown was traded. So, if you remember correctly, Cheese, we talked about this when they drafted Ty Simpson, and Sean McVay looked really distraught and disgusted in that after it was all said and done interview just a couple hours after they drafted him. Maybe the reason Sean McVay looked so distraught was because he didn't want to lie to the reporters. What if the Rams drafted Ty Simpson as a cheap way to fill the quarterback position so they could go out and trade for the two cornerbacks they knew they needed and the best defender in all of football and know they could spend tons of money on all of them but not have to spend a bunch of money on their quarterback? They can't come out and say things like, okay, well, we're lining ourselves up to make a trade for Myles Garrett, right? Because then they lose their leverage. But maybe that's what they were doing, Cheese.
Maybe. And just reading that and listen to you, it makes some sense. It is also possible, they would not admit it, that they actually had a framework in place before the draft, but couldn't make the trade because, like I said, check out the Sports Pulpit. Mike does it on All Gloves Off Sports Media. Till after June 1st to make the contracts work. So maybe they had to wait till June 1st because they did it right on June 1st to make this trade work. So maybe they had a framework, and maybe the Rams knew. I ripped the Rams for not getting a player that could help them right away with that pick, because Ty Simpson's probably not going to play for at least 2 years. But maybe they knew about this. Maybe they had a framework in place. We're going to get Garrett. So like you said, Ty Simpson being a 13th overall pick is not going to hurt your cap room anytime soon, not for the next 2 years. So you have your possible quarterback of the future, and he's cheap, and we don't have to worry about that. Mm-hmm. And we're still going to get Myles Garrett because we already talked to. We're probably going to make the trade with the Browns, so it's very possible.
And just throwing some stuff out there. Let me throw this one out there at you as well. So according to Adam Schefter on his podcast by the same name, the Browns and Myles Garrett quietly reworked the bonus structure on his contract. Cheese, if you haven't looked in the notes, I'm not sure if you know all of this. So instead of having all of his bonuses due on the first week of the new NFL league year, which is what most people do, they actually reworked all of this so that all of his bonuses had to be paid on June 2nd. And since Myles Garrett is now a Los Angeles Ram, the Rams have to pay him all of his bonuses, and the Browns got to save all of that money because they traded him on June 1st. So do you think the Browns set all this up in motion like beforehand? Like, we pretty much know we're going to trade you, but we're just going to set up little things here and little things there. And I mean, they saved a ton of money, by the way. And I'll have all the numbers on the Sports Pulpit for everybody, but they saved a ton of money by reworking his contract and pushing those, like the workout bonuses and there was 4 or 5 other things that they have that now the Rams have to pay for instead of the Browns paying for.
Yeah, so I think Andrew Berry has said all along, I'm not trading Myles Garrett, because it's hard to get value for that kind of player, Hall of Fame player. I mean, he's going to be he's unbelievable. Well, he's one of the best pass rushers I've ever seen. And so when he says that, you have all the leverage. Somebody has to blow you away or give you a really good young player like Jared Verse too, plus draft picks. So it's very possible, but also it sounds like Myles Garrett got paid earlier. Is that correct? He got paid his bonuses earlier?
He did for the first 2 years of the contract, and then they reworked it so that this year his bonuses weren't paid until June 2nd.
Okay. Well, he had a no trade clause, so he had leverage too. So
Correct.
Browns had all the leverage. No, I mean, I think this was a trade. I sent you a thing that this was rumored that they were trying to trade for him. Do you 24 hours before it happened, I sent you that.
Yes.
Yeah, from a guy who had good scoops in the past. And
you mentioned his name on your
yes.
show at Football with Cheese.
Yes, he had good. He's a Packer insider actually, but he had a lot of good stuff in the past. He's the one, like the day before Parsons was traded, he was Parsons. He had that rumor that the Packers were working on it.
Yeah, if you listen to if you went over to Football with Cheese and you listened to when he did this, when he broke the news that Myles Garrett was getting traded, he said on his own show, he said he didn't want to admit it, but he did say on his own show that Myles Garrett is better than Micah Parsons.
Very slightly, gun to my head, better. But yeah, the Browns had all the leverage, so they could sit there and wait until they had the right deal from the right team. And Myles Garrett also had leverage because he had no trade clause. So, yeah, I think the Browns played this really well, and I think the Browns had an amazing offseason, and I've never said that before.
All right, so we're going to play a video for the first time here on the Lights Out Sports Podcast because the old man over here is finally figuring out how to do videos on here too. Look at me. So this is from the Pat McAfee show earlier today. I like Pat, some of you probably do, some of you don't. That's not really the issue here. But this is interesting. It's about 1 minute and 30 seconds long. We'll play it, and then we will respond to it here. You ready, Chiefs?
I'm ready.
All right.
Reach out to Aaron Donald. Okay? I reach out to Aaron Donald. And I would like to say, according to source, says, it for sure got me thinking. Okay? Me and Aaron Donald don't text on a regular basis. I'm not acting like me and Aaron Donald are like best friends. Okay, we all saw him push me off a seat down
at
Pittsburgh. We know that.
Pittsburgh guys.
Now, he did grow up Penn Hills, which is directly next to Plum. Obviously, I know Aaron Donald, have massive respect for Aaron Donald. But this would be not a normal conversation for me just to be texting Aaron Donald. Would that be cool to be able to just text Aaron Donald? Would like to say yes. That would be a very cool thing. Would be pumped about. Yeah, so that's Aaron Donald. Okay, so we know each other, obviously. It for sure got me thinking. I said, holy shit, can I say that? Okay, that's what I respond with, okay? And then he responds with 35, removed 2 years ago, got to see if that fire can light back up. And then we show clips of him doing it, and I tell him, I say, you're from Penn Hills, brother. Fire is always in there. And then I say, go get the knives back out. Okay, and then there was a laughing response. If Aaron Donald comes out of retirement to work alongside Myles Garrett in that entire defensive line, and the Super Bowl is in L.A. again,
yeah,
Snead and McVay are going to look like they're the best of all time. They're the greatest of all time, being able to just build these things the way that they're building it, which goes against completely how everybody else is seemingly trying to do it. The draft picks thing became a thing with Les Snead. They end up winning. Frick these picks.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, that's what the NFL put out, so.
Frick them picks.
Well said.
Frick them.
This is what happens.
I know. We do.
They're still hitting on them, too, the picks that they do have.
Yeah. That they're fricking?
Like Puka, what was it, fifth rounder?
Yeah, fifth, fourth.
All right, Chiefs. What? I mean, if the people are saying the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl now, if Aaron Donald comes out of retirement and gets added to that line, I mean, should we just give him the trophy now?
You can't just give him the trophy. This is not NBA. It's not some super team. You never know what's going to happen. And I mentioned this when I did my reaction to the trade. This is great. They have the best roster. I don't think anyone's going to deny that. Most people are going to pick them to win the Super Bowl. Definitely pick them to win the NFC. What if Matthew Stafford gets hurt? If Matthew Stafford gets hurt, they're not winning. They don't have anyone behind them worth a crap. Are they going to play Ty Simpson? Is that who they're going to play? So, you can't give him the trophy now. I did send you something on X. I don't know if you can pull it up. If it takes too long, don't worry about it. But I'm a little skeptical about this for the very reason for what I just sent you. I don't know if you can pull it up.
Hang on. It'll take me a second, but I can do it. Give me a second.
Okay. While you're doing that, he is 35. He hasn't played for 2 years, but when he did retire, he was still playing. He was still the best defensive tackle in the NFL. Chances are he won't be that good, but even like 80% Aaron Donald is still probably the best defensive tackle in the NFL. That's what's so crazy. That's how good he was. Ask the Cincinnati Bengals about Aaron Donald, because they win the Super Bowl no problem without him. I mean, they win that Super Bowl. They couldn't block him. They were double and triple teaming him and still couldn't block him. And Cooper Kupp won the MVP. He shouldn't have. He had no business winning that MVP. He was very good in the game. Don't get me wrong. But Aaron Donald changed that entire game.
Okay, I believe I've got what you want me to pull up here. It was the last thing you sent to me. I think that's what you want me to pull up, right?
Yes, that is Erica Donald. That is his wife. As we know, a lot of times, I'm not saying Mike, I'm not saying you, but the wife a lot of times is in charge. And it sounds like
my wife's in charge. You can say it.
Okay, yeah, she's in charge. So I think Erica Donald. I can't even talk. I think Erica Donald. This says a lot to me. This says hilarious, meaning he's not coming back if she has her say, and she's probably in charge. So I'm just going to throw a little cold water on it. I could be wrong, but yeah.
That's fine. You can throw cold water on it. That's fine, sir. No problem. I just think it's interesting. You can't. Aaron Donald had the ability on a Pat McAfee show to just go, nope, not even thinking about it. Don't put me out there. But he didn't. So you're saying there's a chance.
He's getting in shape.
Well, I don't think he's ever been out of shape, but
true.
Getting in better shape, getting in more football shape,
but
right?
Y'all Hilarious says she doesn't think, she thinks it's funny. Like, she didn't say not happening. That would have been probably, I think, better chance it happens if she said that. She just said, y'all hilarious. It's so funny to her that there's any chance he comes back. And if she's in charge, we'll find out. If he comes back, we'll find out. But if she's in charge, he's not coming back. Just saying.
All right, so I've got 2 more points here on this Myles Garrett thing, and then we're going to move on to what's Cleveland going to do with what this trade has given to them. So, Cheese, the Super Bowl is in L.A. this year. Do you think that's a motivating factor for what the Rams are doing and trying to build this almost like an NBA super team right now?
I think it is, but slightly. I don't think that's the biggest thing. I think maybe that's a little bit to do with it, but I think the main thing is Matthew Stafford just won the MVP. He's toward the end of his career. You never know what's going to happen with Ty Simpson. Like, they're right there. They were so close to making the Super Bowl, and they would have beaten New England. I think you agree with me. There were like 2 or 3 plays in that game. You flip them, they win. They probably win easily. Like, they just were so close, and we need to make sure this doesn't happen. We need to shore up our weaknesses, cornerback, and we need to also make sure maybe we get better other positions. We have to be able to beat the Seahawks. That's the thing. They got to cover JSN. They couldn't cover JSN, and they did that. They got Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, right? Yep. But let's also improve the pass rush. Let's also maybe get after Sam Darnold better. Get Myles Garrett. So that's the team. They designed a team to beat the Seahawks. That's what they're doing, because that's the only team I think they fear that could stop them. I don't think anyone in the AFC they're worried about. So that's what they're doing. They built a team.
You're not worried about Denver?
I don't think so. Denver does not have JSN. They don't have a receiver that's going to destroyed their secondary. They made their secondary not know what the heck they were doing. JSN just ate them for breakfast. It was bad. It was really bad. And if they could have gotten consistent pressure, and they did get some pressure. Jared Verse actually had a very good game in the NFC title game. But if they gotten even better pressure, it would have helped the secondary out as well. So they doubled down. Let's also improve the pass rush. And they took, the biggest weakness, cornerback, and probably made it a strength. So I think the motivating factor is Matthew Stafford's age and how good they are. Just clean up a few weaknesses. Like, just look at their roster overall. There's one position that worries me, and that's right tackle. That's it. That's the only thing I'm worried about in their entire roster. They have a good player, at least good or above average, everywhere on that team except for right tackle. That's the only one that worries me.
All right, Cheese, you're setting me up really well. So, final point here. Is this a good thing for the NFL as a whole? Because I can remember another team who has been looked at, or I'm seriously, I can't remember another team who has been looked at in an off season as Super Bowl champions like this team is being looked at right now. So, well, I'll tell you what, answer that part first, and then we'll look at it from an Arizona perspective and a Seattle perspective. We'll do that here in just a second.
Not since I was a kid, like 49ers and Cowboys teams, maybe in the 90s, they were looked at as the huge favorites. It's been a long time. Yeah, I can't remember since then. Those teams were just absolutely loaded. The game has changed. You have teams draft smarter than they used to be. Jimmy Johnson was just drafting way better than anyone else with those Cowboys teams. Like, teams have gotten smarter. You have the salary cap. There's a lot more, so you can't, it's rare that you have just like a super team.
All right. So then if that's the case, look at it from the poor Arizona Cardinals perspective, right? I mean, they were going to get slaughtered beforehand. What's going to happen to this poor team now?
Well, Paris Johnson's not gonna, he's going to lose a little sleep maybe. I don't think they were going to beat the Rams either game anyway. So I don't think it affect. I think the Cardinals are probably the least affect team on the Rams schedule because they weren't going to win those games anyway.
Okay.
I honestly, like,
I can't argue that point.
Hey, maybe Paris Johnson, maybe it's good for him. Maybe he gets to go up him twice a year and he can get better, maybe. So honestly, I don't think it'll affect the Arizona Cardinals. I think it'll affect every other team on that schedule. And Green Bay has to go to the Rams on Thanksgiving Eve, I believe, in LA. So with Jordan Morgan, an unknown as their left tackle. By the way, you want to trade Paris Johnson? I'd love for the Packers to trade for him. We want Josh Sweat. We want Tyler Algier. We want Will Johnson. Give us all those guys, man.
Why not, right? Just sell the farm. So, okay, so then I'm going to say it's not good, right? Because it's like the Yankees of a few years ago in Major League Baseball. It's the Dodgers of right now in Major League Baseball, right? It's like, well, just give them everything, right? But it also kind of puts a target on their back. So I think that's how the Seahawks would look at it, right? That's how you have to motivate. If you're the Packers, when you go out there on Thanksgiving Eve, that's how you have to look at it, right? These guys are the best, and we want to beat the best. So how does that going to affect, you think, the whole NFL season as a whole? Because this team is going to be daunted as being so good, are they going to get there in the end and we're just all going to go, oh, well, and we knew it before the season started? Or are there going to be some teams that really take a good shot at them, maybe, and one or two of them can knock them off?
Well, you're probably going to get the other team's best because of that. So you're right. They are a target. I get why you compare them to the Dodgers, but there's a big difference. They have a salary cap. They have restrictions. The Dodgers don't. Dodgers can do whatever they want because the way baseball's structured. And we're going to make an entire show about that probably in July. So make sure you do follow all of our channels. So we're going to talk about the CBA, what might happen, why they're so far apart. We're going to go over that. The Rams aren't doing anything wrong. They're doing everything right. If you want to blame people, blame the Browns for giving Myles Garrett in a trade. Like, they're not doing anything wrong. But what you just said, clearly there's going to probably be some games where the Rams win like 42-6, probably. And that's not necessarily great. It's not But I'll say this: the NFL does design the league to help out the teams that were bad and punish the teams that were good. There's a salary cap; you don't draft as high. So, kudos to Les Snead and the Rams for doing this. I don't feel resentment toward them. But if they, go, 16-1, and then run the table in the postseason, no problem. Yeah, that's not really good for football. I think you would agree.
Yeah, I would. It is what I'm a little scared of. We'll see how the season unfolds. This is what we're looking at on paper, right? We say that all the time. It looks good on paper, but what looks good on the field? So we'll get to all that, I'm sure, more as the season actually gets here and we start looking at games and things like that. So,
well, real quick, I mean, just look, who had Seattle and New England in the Super Bowl? That was fun. The Super Bowl was not entertaining. It sucked actually, but because it wasn't really close. But it was fun that those two teams made it. That's what the NFL should be. You should have 15, 18 teams that can make the Super Bowl. You should. That'd be great. That's more entertaining.
Yes, I agree with you, and I'm just afraid that this year you're going to get some of these teams that now are really not even going to try. I mean, why should the Cardinals try when they go up against the Rams? They're just going to get slaughtered.
They should try really hard to give the Rams a game to make sure they get the first pick in the draft. That's what they should be doing.
But if they lose to them, they're going to get that first pick in the draft. I mean, that's the way that the NFL is structured.
I'm thinking Dante Moore would be a great Arizona Cardinal.
Maybe.
I think Mike would buy the jersey.
I might. So, Cheese, what about Cleveland now? What's next for Cleveland? Let me give you some numbers here. So, Verse makes $2.17 million in 2026. He makes $2.85 million in 2027, and then there'll be a fifth-year option. While Myles Garrett makes $8.1 in 2026, $16.6 in 2027. He makes $21.38 million in 2028, and then in 2029 and 2030, you ready? Whew.
No.
He makes $57.99 million for those last two seasons apiece. I'm going to tell you right now, geez, I know everybody's saying how great this thing is going to be for the Rams and everything. I think Cleveland won this trade.
Cleveland wins this trade if they do something with his draft picks. Recently, the last 2 years, they've done better in the draft. If they hit on those draft picks, they could win this trade. They could. As far as money goes, though, you made a really good point there. Jared Verse has been in the league 2 years. He was drafted in 2024, 19th overall.
Right. The only first-round pick the Rams have had in like 10 years.
But yeah, but it's before Ty Simpson, yeah. So they have one player on their entire team that they used a first-round pick on, not another team's first-round pick.
Yes, that's correct.
And that's the person that hasn't played a snap for him yet. They just drafted him.
Yep.
But Jared Verse, he's a really good player. He's just not Myles Garrett level talent. He's not.
But he's not getting paid near what Myles Garrett's getting paid either.
So you said he makes 2.17. So the next 2 years, 2.17, 2.85. So the Browns are going to save a ton of money that they can use in the future.
$5 million for this guy for the next 2 years. That's insane.
True. But that fifth-year option is going to be expensive.
It will.
And they will have to pay him.
Anything like Myles Garrett's option, though.
Right. And they will have to pay him probably in a couple of years. They can pay him next year. Or trade him. But they'll have to pay him at some point. So when you say like 2029, 30, Myles Garrett 57.9, well, I mean, Jared Verse might make a lot too in those years. So I'll just say that. But I was surprised that the Rams were willing to give up Jared Verse, because when I first heard this, I thought Myles Garrett and Jared Verse together, they'll be unstoppable on defense. My headset keeps falling off. It just my head's too big. It just wants to fall.
It's got too much knowledge in that brain.
Yeah, I wish. I just thought it'd be unstoppable. And now it just, yes, the Rams are better. He's better than Jared Verse. No doubt about it. At the same time, Jared Verse is unbelievable power move. He doesn't want to run around you. He runs through you. And I keep hearing this from left tackles talk about who they don't want to face. They always say Jared Verse. Teron Armstead, he faced him once. He retired. And he said, who did you not like facing? He said, this past year, I didn't like facing Jared Verse, because they don't want you to run through you. They want you to try to go around you and use your length and stop them and push them up the field. They don't want you to go through you. And that's what Jared Verse does. He doesn't care. Ruben Bain's a very similar player. He likes to do that as well. He just doesn't care. He does anything and everything to get to the quarterback. So still think it's a push because I think Garrett is better and he'll command more attention. But I get what you're saying. If the Browns nail those picks or even hit on 2 of them, then it's very possible long-term they will win the trade.
Just a couple little side notes here before we move on. There's only 2 teams that have multiple picks in this upcoming draft. You and I both think this upcoming draft is going to be just full of superstars. The New York Jets have 3, and now the Cleveland Browns have 2. The second point that I really want to make here is that we said it earlier. I said it earlier when we were talking about the quarterback. Maybe they want to make sure that they're not paying the quarterback a ton. And if you look at that Myles Garrett contract, basically $60 million for the last 2 years, that contract each year. So they're going to get Ty Simpson cheap. That way they can spend on these other toys that they're going to have and hopefully build a dynasty up until that point. Now, once they get there, who knows what's going to happen. But if I'm a Rams fan, I'll take really good play for the next 5 years and just, okay, we'll throw the cards up in the air and see what happens at the end. And then, like I said, I also think this is better for the Browns because this kind of feels better for their timeline. They're not going to be good for the next 2 or 3 years at least. So why keep a guy like Myles Garrett? That's what I think both of us said when they signed Myles Garrett, right? Why? He's going to be older by the time you guys get better. So now they get Jared Verse, and he kind of fits that timeline for them a lot better. The thing that I had heard was that they were not going to trade Myles Garrett until they basically said to the Rams, we want Jared Verse, thinking they're never going to do that. And they went, okay, we'll do that. And
they
then
probably
they had
resisted.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns then had to do it, right?
Well, I think the Rams probably resisted that for a while.
I'm sure they
finally did. And I wonder if more draft capital is involved. I wonder if the Rams said, okay, we're not giving up Verse, but we'll give you like 3 first-round picks. And the Browns were like, no, we want Verse. And then it became first rounder next year, then second round the year after that, and then 2029 third rounder. So it's a first, second, third, but in future years. So when you give up, it's not like a first, second, third the next year. Like that would have been a bunch. It's when you spread it out, it's not as bad. And it's, in the future, like a third rounder in 2029, it's not really a lot. It's not a great pick necessarily right now because it's so far in the future and it's only a third rounder, even though they're valuable. So I think that's probably what happened. They insisted on Verse, and then the Rams said, okay, but we're going to spread these picks out, and it's a 1, 2, and a 3. It's not 2 1s and a 2 or 3 1s. You're going to spread it out, and we're not giving us much draft capital. And the Browns finally said, okay, let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to be away for the 9th and the 16th. As we've already said, Sirhan's going to do the 9th with you. Can't wait to watch that show. Going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to be gone on the 16th as well. Mr. First Down will be here for the 16th. He'll be doing that show with you. Then when I come back on the 23rd, Wayne Gregory Jr. will be here from Aniba Sports. And on the week after that, June 30th, Benjamin Mungia will be here. You can get him at Just Jarman. He does a lot of sports stories and stuff on a couple of other platforms and things, and I wanted to get his take on a lot of other stuff that's going on. So 2 great guests coming with us, and we got some other guests that I'm lining up. Cheese, I think we're starting to get some traction here because people are starting to contact me of being, hey, I want to be on the show. I've seen you've been putting guests on the show, and I want to be included on that list. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here over the next few weeks. All right, last thing here on our NFL 4-down territory is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe his first name's Nick, right? Nick Herbig?
Yeah.
Yeah. They signed Nick Herbig to a massive, massive contract. There's Nick. Hang on, let me take the banner off the top here real quick so that you can see Nick a little bit better. Covering up his face right at the moment with Lights Out Sports. There we go. There's Nick. So they have signed Nick Herbig to what I would call a massive contract. 4 years, $100 million with $42 million of it guaranteed. So, Cheese, here's my first question. Is this what 7.5 sacks get you in the NFL now?
It's not about the sacks. It's not about the sacks at all. There are players that have gotten 10 sacks in a season that aren't even any good. They just either the coverage is good or they just effort sacks. It's not about the sacks. It's about impact. Pass rushing is about pressures and how you impact the game. And Nick Herbig impacts the game. You know me. I watch a lot of film. I go back and watch the games. This dude, he's a dude. He's a stud. He's not a great run defender. He's like a 240 pounds, undersized, but he is a really good third down pass rusher, designated pass rusher only. And I wasn't surprised when I saw this. You obviously were.
Yes.
But he impacts the game. And obviously it helps TJ Watt, probably draws more attention, but he's usually the other guy on third downs, and he gets a ton of pressure. He impacts the quarterback. So, yeah, I think it makes sense.
I mean, I think this is what separates people like you and I. I'm a bigger baseball guy, and I'm a fringe football guy. When I saw this come across the X account today, I was like, who is this guy making $100 million? I literally had to look him up because I didn't know who he was. You know, I don't like Pittsburgh anyway, so I don't follow them too much, Bengals fan. But, I was like, who is this guy making $100 million? And then I saw 7.5 sacks last season. I'm like, 7.5 sacks? That's it? So it got me wondering, is it safe to say, Cheese, that pass rusher is now viewed as the second most important position on a football field behind the obvious one, which is quarterback?
So,
here we go.
I would say third.
Okay, so what's second?
Because you have to protect the quarterback. I think offensive tackle I would put second because they're the ones stopping the edge rushers. They're the protectors of the quarterback. So very close between 2 and 3, but I would actually put tackle. But yeah, edge rusher, quarterback, offensive tackle, edge rusher. That's 1, 2, and 3. Quarterback's obviously number 1 by far. And then the next two are in their own class, in my opinion, are left tackle or offensive tackle, left and right tackle, and then edge rusher.
So where would you put receiver?
Well, defensive tackle would be fourth. Oh man.
While you're thinking about it, let me give you
Probably fifth.
numbers.
Probably fifth. Sorry,
Okay,
go ahead.
we're gonna pull up a chart in a minute that talks about some of one of these positions here, the edge rusher position. But before we do that, here is Adam Schefter tweeted this out earlier. I saved it. The highest paid receivers in the NFL on a per year basis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 5. So these are the top 5 highest paid receivers on a per year basis. Okay, 5 is CeeDee Lamb, $34 million. 4, I thought he would be higher than this. Justin Jefferson at $35 million. Number 3, now we just spoke about him in the 5 and 5 flame and 5 and 5. Drake London becomes number 3, $35.25 million. Jamar Chase, who I thought would be number 1, is not. He's number 2 at $40.25.
Crazy.
Jackson Smith and Jigma is number 1, $42.15 million, which, I mean, that's $2.15 million higher than number 2 at Jamar Chase. So some big time money for these guys. I mean, these are not, this is not a little bit of change. This is a ton of money. And you're putting wide receiver clear down at the 5th position, yet they're getting paid. I mean, shoot, I don't make that much dollar an hour. Never mind million in a year. I mean, gee, many Christmas.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson signed it 2 years ago. It's why he's lower. Jamar Chase signed his last year. JSN obviously wanted to top him after his big year. So it's I don't think Patrick Mahomes is top 10 paid quarterback because he signed his contract like 3 years ago, like a long-term deal. So it depends when you sign. The cap keeps going up, but yeah, I guess I put it 5th. But it's a sexy position. It's a position that is featured a lot. It's a passing game. So they just, for whatever reason, I'm not sure, it just gets paid a lot. I think it's number 3 after, quarterback and edge rusher in highest paid position.
So whatever reason, position, it's the sexy position.
Yeah, it's an impact position. Before the new rules where you could barely touch receivers, illegal contact. It's an offensive league. Receiver became more important overnight. Like overnight, it's much more important than it used to be. But at the same time, yeah, I have it fifth. There's clearly quarterback, offensive tackle, edge rusher, and defensive tackle are ahead of it, in my opinion.
Okay, so this is a chart that you sent to me. This is evaluating edge rushers when they're one-on-one. What's this chart tell us, Chief?
Well, okay, so it's double team rankings at the bottom. It's one of those XY charts, and then it's your grade over expectation when you rush the passer, basically versus double team. So this is a double team chart. So when you're double team, the amount. So if you're the furthest right you are, you're double team more than anyone else, which is not surprising on who's further right. And then the higher you are, it's how you do over the expected when you're double team, what you should do. Like when you're double team, you shouldn't necessarily get a lot of pressures. But if you do, you're very high on that list. And this is the least surprising chart I have seen. There's charts like this all the time. Upper right, Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons. And then you got Will Anderson, Aiden Hutchinson of the next tier after that. That's it. Those are the four best pass rushers in the league. And Garrett and Parsons are in their own level. And then Will Anderson Jr. and Aiden Hutchinson are in their own level, in my opinion. And then you have people like TJ Watt and Max Crosby, Jared Verse, people like that. So this chart, this passes the eye test. This is the least surprising chart I have seen on X.
Well, thanks for making our stuff that we put up here seem inconsequential, sir. We appreciate that.
No, it's consequential. It's just it makes sense. I love that stuff that makes sense. I love that.
Okay. And we'll put that up on our X account as well if you want to see that later on. I don't have it up right the moment, but I will put it up on our X account here in just a little bit. Okay, so, as we wrap up everything in our football segment here, sir, according to Adam Schefter, Nick Herbig is the only non-quarterback to surpass 100 million without starting an entire NFL season in his career, because he was recently drafted and he's only 24 years old.
Right.
Is that good for the Steelers or bad for the Steelers?
I don't think it matters. Honestly,
you don't want more experience before you give somebody $100 million?
He's been in the league 3 years. He's been good each year. Like he was like a 4th or 5th round pick out of Wisconsin, and he played good from the get-go. Like, I rewatch a lot of games. He impacts the game. There are times, his sack totals aren't necessarily like super high. I mean, they're decent. They're not terrible, but he impacts the game. There are times where he gets a pressure, causes incompletion, or causes a turnover that has helped them win games. We know the Steelers are pretty much overachieved the last couple of years. They're making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily have the greatest roster. So, no, I wasn't surprised by this. And you mentioned 7.5 sacks. Bowie Mafe got $20 million a year from the Bengals. He had 2 sacks last year. But if you watch the Seahawks, he impacted the game a lot more than that. It's not necessarily about getting the guy on the ground. Yes, that helps. Ideally, you want to get the sack. But pressures are more consistent. And, I'll just say this. Rashawn Gary at one point last year led the league in sacks. He had 7.5 through the first 7 games. Okay?
Okay.
So many of his sacks were because Micah Parsons got the pressure and the quarterback ran away from him right into Gary. Right into him.
Okay,
like he got all these luck. Like 4 of his 7.5 sacks were complete luck. Mm-hmm. 2 other ones were because he played the Browns offensive line. That he just went around that right tackle, a guy I didn't even know who that is. It was some backup. I had never heard of him. So The point is, like 6 of his 7.5 sacks at that point were gimmies. So consistently pressuring the quarterback is more important, and Nick Herbig does that. So I think it's a good signing for the Steelers. I like the move.
But that's what is the difference between a Nick Herbig and a Myles Garrett, right? Myles Garrett gets the guys on the ground, and that's what makes him that elite guy at the very top of the list, right?
Oh, absolutely. He does with those long arms, but he also has double and triple teams. And Nick Herbig gets a lot of one-on-one because TJ Watt's the one who draws attention. But yeah, Myles Garrett impacts the game so much more than Nick Herbig. But, nothing. I mean, Nick Herbig's a good edge rusher, and the Steelers should be happy that they re-signed him.
All right, buddy. We got it. So what we're going to do next is we're going to jump into our baseball talk. Of course, it is 4 pitch talk.
Cubs suck, by the way.
I thought they won. Oh no, the Braves won. I'm sure the Reds must have lost.
Let me check. What's that? No, they won. They beat the Royals. How's Ellie doing? Is he hurt? I think he's hurt.
We'll
right?
talk about that in a minute.
Oh, okay, yeah. I should.
Yeah, that'll be the first thing we talk about. That's kind of why I was doing all that for.
Oh, Steer had a monster game. Monster game.
Monster game.
He had 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. They won 4-3, or 2 RBIs, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs.
So he got everything for him.
So Spencer Steer, monster game. They needed someone to step up with Ellie on the show. Okay. Anyway,
They're gonna need more than one person to step up, but we'll take one person at a time for the time being. All right, guys, this is our MLB 4 Down Territory segment. We are going to talk about the Cincinnati Reds. We're going to talk about Lou Gehrig. We're going to talk trade Tuesday, or Tuesday trade candidate. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to talk about Mike Trout when we talk about the trade candidates. And, of course, then at the end of the show, we're going to wrap everything up by doing our batting cleanup presented by ForwardFan.com. And we will give you 4 tidbits from this past week in baseball. All right, Cheese. The Cincinnati Reds have suddenly been decimated by injuries. Let me rattle some of these things off to you here real quick. In the last few days, they've lost Graham Ashcraft, a reliever, to the 60-day DL. They lost Paris Johnson, another reliever, placed on the 15-day IL. Chase Burns has not been placed on the IL, but he has been sick. He's supposed to pitch the game tomorrow, but they were undecided, and is against the Kansas City Royals. Closer Emilio Pagan, as we were watching this, we were doing this show a couple weeks ago. You squawked in the middle of the show, and I was like, what? And it ended up being that you knew Emilio Pagan had been hurt, so he has been out for a while. He is not scheduled to return until around July 4th. Brandon Williamson, their 5th starter, has shoulder fatigue, was put on the 60-day DL on May the 6th. Hunter Green, probably their number 1 guy as far as their rotation goes, is now starting to throw bullpen sessions, but he's still looking more like a July return. Brett Lauder, who was their 4th starter coming out of spring training, is making his rehab start tonight at AAA Louisville. If Roger or Ricky's still listening, shoot me over a message on how he's doing tonight in Louisville. And wow, I almost called you Roger because I was talking about everybody else. Cheese, that's just the pitching on the Cincinnati Reds. They are one of these teams, Cheese, and you know this too. They need to have all these guys intact because they can't afford to go out and buy a whole bunch more players. What are they going to do here, buddy?
I don't think there's much they can do. Is just stay the course, hope to get healthy, and hope the AAA guys they called up can keep them in the race. I get what you're saying. They don't have the resources other teams, but the Cubs have gone through something similar. They have 4 of their would have been their projected starters out. They have a couple bullpen guys out, like Justin Steele, Cade Horton, Edward Cabrera. He's coming back this Saturday, and Matthew Boyd are all out. They would have been 1 through 4 on their starting. They're so they're starting people like Jordan Wicks, who can't get anybody out. But there's really not much you can do. You just have to call the guys up from AAA and hope they can keep you in it until those guys come back.
So Ellie De La Cruz and Ke'Bryan Hayes, who are both arguably their 2 best defenders, and Ellie is their best player by far, they're out as well. They're in trouble, Cheese. I'm as a Cincinnati Reds fan, I'm worried.
I'm going to try to be Mr. Optimism. That's not like me. I'm usually the grumpy one.
Okay.
Spencer Steer stepped up today.
Okay. Yes.
I just look at their lineup. Like we talked about this before the season started. They probably have like 11 guys that could start in 9 spots. So they just need some guys to step up to hit. We know South Stewart, really good rookie. Spencer Steer would be great stepping up. Stevenson needs to be better. McLean needs to step it up. Like they have guys with talent. Bleday's been very good this year. I think.
Yeah, JJ Bleday has been carrying that team on his back.
Even Suarez has been disappointment. He needs to step it up. But they have guys
Suarez is streaky though. He'll carry a team for 2 weeks and then he'll be terrible for a month.
True, but they have a lot of guys in their lineup that have not been as good as they should have been this year. So they just need to step it up. They need to start scoring more runs. And like I said, Will Benson, he needs to do something. Some of these guys, they're better than their numbers indicate. You just need to step it up, and they need to start scoring more runs and outscoring people. That's what they need to start doing. And good start tonight that they did get the close win.
So sometimes though, Cheese, when your main guy goes down and the team has a meeting or the manager gets together and they say, okay, boys, we need to step this up. They're okay with their win tonight. They're still 2 games above 500. They're still in that National League Central race. So sometimes I think this galvanizes a team and it allows them to move forward maybe without that guy. And then once the superstar gets back, they're even better. What do you think about that?
That's happened. We've seen it. We've absolutely seen it. We saw it the Braves with Ronald Acuna Jr. getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it happens. Maul's been good out of the bullpen. So yeah, the bullpen's another thing. They need to pitch better.
Their bullpen's decimated right now. It's
decimated, but it's still, they have guys with some good stuff.
Yeah, they still got Tony Santillan. They've still got some players down there. Yeah. They called up Luis May today. They've got, when you have a guy in your bullpen named Big Sugar, what do you think he does, right? He just throws heat. So, so they've got some people in there. It's some of these guys who fanatics like ourselves who really know our teams really well. We're like, oh yeah, I've been waiting on this guy to get there. And that guy for the Reds is going to be Edwin Arroyo. He just got called up yesterday. They made a big fanfare about it. He had his own press conference before the game and the whole 9 yards. What if he comes up and he becomes a superstar and he plays really well? Is that a good problem to have with the Reds? Because now you've got to decide, do we bench Matt McLain? Do we, what are we going to do? They're not going to do anything with Spencer Steer, it doesn't sound like. Or, maybe they put Suarez as a DH only. There's Stewart's there in the infield. They're going to have a glutton of infielders all of a sudden.
Well, if Hayes out, you're going to keep Suarez at third. Absolutely. So you can get somebody else in there that can't play third. Arroyo, he's not a third baseman, right?
Arroyo can play third, second, short third.
Okay. Yeah. Good problem to have. Like I said, they have a deep roster. They just need to play better, I think. It's not a team that you look at it and say, okay, of course they have injuries, but you don't see like guys that should be in Double-A playing. Like some teams, some really bad team, you see this and they have no one left once anyone gets hurt. So I think they just need to play better. It's June now. Weather's getting warm. Some guys, it just takes them a few months to get going. And maybe McLain, maybe Benson, maybe somebody. Steer had a big game tonight. Someone just needs to step up, or a couple guys, and they'll be fine. And even if they just play 500 over the next month, they'll be fine. They'll still be in. But you just can't go on a big losing streak. So yeah, they just need a couple guys to step up.
Okay. You make it sound so easy. I hope it ends up being that easy before it's all said and done.
I love the roster. It's not bad. It's not a bad roster.
It's not. I'm just worried, Cheese. I know it's my team, and I don't want to sit here and take up 20 minutes of this podcast talking about the team that I love, especially when here on All Gloves Off Sports Media, we have the Red Hot Reds, and we have Minor League Mondays where they do. We've already got 2 podcasts on the Reds, and we love those guys, Ricky and Robert over there, or Ricky and Roger. Why I say Robert for? Ricky and Roger over there do a fantastic job. But I'm just, all I'm saying to you right now, Cheese, is I'm worried. So I want it kind of documented now that I'm worried. And I want to see where we are in 15, 20 days. Because, Ellie's going to be out probably for 15 to 30. I don't know. That's the lifeblood. It'd be like, okay, so they're playing the Kansas City Royals, right? Mm-hmm. It would be like losing who's their wow, he just left my mind. Who's the shortstop for the Royals?
Bobby Witt Jr.
Bobby Witt Jr., right? It'd be like the Royals losing Bobby Witt Jr. Your Braves survived losing Ronald Acuna Jr., but they've got a lot of other players on their team too. So
they got a lot of all-stars on that team. Yeah, in their lineup.
It's a really good team.
Well, the thing is, Friedel's hitting 179. Benson's hitting 188. McLain's hitting 196. They're better than that. Maybe in
You're
June.
killing me right now. You're making it
No,
worse,
but-
jeez.
No, but like I'm just looking at this, and we talked about this like a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. It's like the Reds. You talk about negative run differential. They were in first place at the time, but it's like they have a lot of guys that just haven't gotten going yet. They'll be fine if they just. So they just need guys to, like I said, sometimes just some players just don't hit till June. They just don't get going till middle of summer. So maybe that'll happen for the Reds. But just looking at their lineup now, it's not a bad lineup. It's rotation and, a bullpen, maybe a little banged up, maybe not looking great, but still it's not terrible. So I think they'll be okay.
Okay. All right. What she says, they will be okay. So we'll, Ricky, Roger, we'll see if Cheese is right here. So, oh boy. Today is also Lou Gehrig Day in Major League Baseball. I know most of the games are either almost over or completed, but it's the first time that we have been able to say today on this Tuesday is Lou Gehrig Day. It's June 2nd, and June 2nd carries dual significance in the life of Lou Gehrig. Cheese, if you didn't know, and the rest of our fans, if they didn't know, in 1925, June the 2nd was the day he became the starting first baseman for the Yankees, and that was the day that started his game streak where he didn't miss a game. 2,130 consecutive games played, which is what got him the nickname the Iron Horse. And then the same day, in 1941, he passed away from what we know now as Lou Gehrig's disease. You want to take a second and comment on Lou Gehrig or the disease or how it's helping people or anything like that before we move on here for a second, buddy?
Yeah, it's also called ALS. It's something we wish we could, find a cure for. It's called Lou Gehrig's disease because he was the first big time. I don't think it was the first case, but it was one of the first, case. He was a celebrity. He was one of the best baseball players of his time.
Right.
He was a Yankee, but he was also one of the best. He was an incredible baseball player. Mm-hmm. His record wasn't broken until Cal Ripken Jr. And I still remember the bucket challenge. I think it's something that we want to end ALS. We want to end it. And it's who knows how long he could have gotten. And it's something that, my parents, they're good friends, their son he was on a jet ski and had trouble gripping it one day. And he died like 8 or 10 years later. All of a sudden he got it. He was in his 20s. It's just, it's something we need to end. And it's the bucket challenge was cool because they raised a lot of money for research.
Yeah, I didn't know you had somebody who's. I personally don't. I don't know anyone with.
I never met him,
but Gehrig's disease, but
yeah.
So today, Major League Baseball, they're doing a few things that are special for the day. Of course, all players, managers, and coaches will wear wristbands that say 4 with his number 4 because that's the number that Lou Gehrig wore. It'll say 4 ALS, and then there'll be commemorative patches on each one of the uniforms with his retired number 4 on it. Actually, all ballparks as well will have video tributes prior to the game and special lineup cards. And it said Rawlings produced jewelry. I don't really know what that is. I did see where I believe Shohei Ohtani last year had something written on his glove for this particular day. So maybe that's what they're talking about. But I do know that if you want to give to this and you also love sports and you love memorabilia like I do, MLB is going to have a lot of things that were worn today. They'll be up for auction on the MLB site. You can go over and bid on those things and feel good about yourself because you're making sure that your money goes for a great cause, which is ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, depending on what you want to call it. All right, Cheese. We're going to move forward here, and we're going to go to the Tuesday trade candidates. And we're going to look at one guy who patrols center field now for the Anaheim Angels and has for quite some time. But I think it might be time to trade. I say this every year. I have begged the Anaheim Angels to trade this guy every year. I mean, they had Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani together for years and couldn't do a darn thing as a team. So now that Shohei's gone, I think it might be time to trade Mike Trout. What do you think about just in general the Angels trying to trade Mike Trout?
They probably won't. I mean, they could have gotten so much for Ohtani, refused to trade him, knowing he wasn't going to resign. We all knew. And they could have gotten. They're like stubborn. I don't know why. They're so poorly run. They never have a good farm system. You mentioned they wasted Trout and Ohtani because they didn't have any pitching. They didn't have anything else.
They
It's one of
wasted
the
it.
worst.
That's a great word.
It's one of the worst run organizations in all of sports. It's a joke. And they should have traded Trout 4 years ago. They should have traded Ohtani with a year or two left. They weren't winning with him. And then they just refused. And then I still remember the last year of Ohtani, they had a losing record and they bought at the deadline. They're like, well, we'll try to win with him, but you stink. You don't have the team to do it. And they didn't make the playoffs. Like, I cannot fathom being a fan of a team so poorly run. So yes, of course they should trade him, but they probably won't.
All right, so I designed this a little differently. I'm not sure how I'm going to tackle each one of these trade candidate things, but we're going to do it here. Before we talk about trading them, let's talk about his contract, Cheese. He signed a 12-year, $426.5 million contract that goes until 2030. He makes $37,116 or $116,666. Yes, it's 37,116,666.
How does he feed his family?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I looked at his stuff, right? He's made over $330 million so far in his baseball career. I don't know how he does it. So
just barely more than me in my profession.
Right. Just barely. So this 37 million plus he will get every year for the next 5 years. And at the end of that contract, he will be 38 years old with a full no trade clause. So if Anaheim finds a trade partner and he doesn't want to go there, he can go, nope, don't want to go there. And there's nothing that either team can do about it. So talk about the contract first, and then we'll look at some different teams that we think can afford this contract.
I guess the contract at the time, I mean, made sense. He's 34 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to trade him. I mean, he's not what he used to be. He used to be one of the best players in baseball. He's still good. He's still a good player, but he's not what he used to be. Just trade him, eat some of the money, move on. $37.1 million for the next 5 years. Yeah, they're going to have to eat probably half that, but just do it and help your farm system and rebuild, but they won't do it probably.
No, they won't. By the way, before we move on here, this is I wanted to throw this up there. That's what the teams will be wearing today for Lou Gehrig. That's the number 4 that'll be on their things and all of that. I should have thrown that up there while we were talking about it, but I looked and it was like, snot, I got all this stuff and forgot to do it. So yeah, there it was real quick. That's what they'll be wearing. So Mike Trout, I came up with, because I put this segment together here, and you can add to this any way that you want to, sir. I went through and I said, okay, who are the AL teams that can afford $37 million a year for the next 5 years? These are the AL teams that I came up with. When I rattle off these 4, if you can come up with any more, feel free to add. So I said Red Sox, Yankees, Blue Jays, and possibly the Tigers. Do you know, or can you come up with any other team in the American League that may be able to afford this contract? Because I think that's where this starts, is being able to afford this contract.
Maybe one more, but once again, they have to eat a lot of money. Maybe Houston could get involved. They could use some outfield help, but that's the only other team I would add.
Okay. All right. So then the other thing that I did was then I went to the National League, and there's a lot more teams in the National League here that I would put on this list. I said Dodgers, Braves. Hang on. I thought I was going to sneeze a lot louder than that, so that's not so bad. Dodgers, Braves, Mets, Phillies, Padres, Cubs. Any other team in the National League besides the Dodgers, the Padres, the Mets, the Phillies, the Braves, the Cubs that you think could afford the contract for Mike Trout?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so let's take it one team at a time. The Red Sox. The Red Sox need to get younger. So I don't particularly think that Mike Trout is a good fit for the Red Sox. What would your opinion be for Mike Trout to the Red Sox?
No, don't they suck this year?
They're not very good, no.
No.
But all I'm talking about are teams that can afford him. So
okay. It's not a good fit. No, yeah,
I think-
they're 9 games under 500. They're probably going to be sellers of the deadline. They're not very good.
Okay. The Blue Jays can afford him, but they have Dalton Varsho. Do you think they would move Dalton Varsho to a corner spot or something in order to afford $37 million?
No, I think their lineup's pretty much set. I don't see that happening.
Okay. So the Tigers. In my opinion, the Tigers would have to choose between Mike Trout and Tarek Skubal because I don't think the Detroit Tiger fan base can support both of those superstars, and then Riley Green and some of the other people that they've got on that team that I'm sure they want to keep too. So I don't think they can keep both. The only reason I would trade for Mike Trout is if I don't think I can sign Tarek Skubal long term.
No, they're 14 games under 500 too. They're terrible. I mean, they have been awful in May. So no, I don't think they'll be interested at all.
All right. So for me in the American League, I know you brought up Houston. If you want to make a case for them in a second, you certainly can.
Maybe Mariners too. Just thought of another team. Maybe
Okay.
Mariners, but
Maybe Mariners. Who's there? I would have to look at see who their center fielder is.
Well, Julio Rodriguez is. He would.
well.
Trout would have to play a corner outfield spot, but I don't think they have a spot either.
Yeah,
I don't.
No. I don't know if Trout would play a corner outfield spot, and then he has that full no trade clause, so be interesting. The Yankees have Trent Grisham in center field. I think Mike Trout would be a pretty good upgrade over Trent Grisham. So in the AL, the only real team that I think has a shot to trade for him would be the Yankees.
I think so too. I think that would probably be the best fit in the AL. But the best fit, and you'll mention him, but I'll mention them, but I'll go over in a second, is in the National League.
Okay. All right. So let's take that National League, right? Let's start with your two teams. The Braves have Michael Harris Jr., or excuse me, not Michael Harris Jr., Michael Harris III. Are they going to have him move to a spot to where they could afford a Mike Trout and come into the Braves organization?
Oh, God, no. He's been terrific this year. Nope. No chance.
I agree. I wouldn't say no chance, but it's really low, right?
None.
Same thing with the Cubs, right? They're not going to have PCA move somebody somewhere else. Pete Crow Armstrong, right? He's not going anywhere else.
PCA gets a lot of hate, but he's second in WAR since April 14th to Bobby Witt Jr. in all of baseball. Second in WAR. He was terrific tonight, despite them losing. Wasn't his fault. No.
As long as he just doesn't yell through a fence at women, telling them, what part of his anatomy they can choose.
There's no player that gets heckled more in PCA. I don't know what it is. Brewers fans started this, but like every time he goes somewhere, he gets heckled, chanted at. He has to deal with a lot. So I'll just throw it out there. For some reason, maybe his energy, he's so good, but he is the guy that every team tries to heckle and target. And he just kind of lost it that one time, but I'm not worried about it.
And, Cheese and I, or not Cheese and I, wow, I knew I was going to do it. Sirhan and I, who's going to host a show with you next week, talked about it. So here's what I think. I do have a theory on this. Have you ever seen PCA up close? Like, you ever been close to him?
I have not.
Okay, so PCA is not an intimidating person whatsoever. He's a little tiny guy. He looks like an average person.
Yeah, he's a speed guy. He's not a big dude.
Correct.
Yeah, he's a center fielder.
So I think when all these guys that have, 4 or 5 beers in them in the outfield, they get brave because they're like, oh, he ain't going to come up here and do nothing to me, so I'll just start yelling at him, right?
They're not yelling at Frank Thomas, I'll tell you that much.
Right. They're not yelling at Frank Thomas, right? They weren't yelling at Jose Canseco when he was out there, right? So, that's just my own personal theory on PCA and why he gets so much crap, but he looks like an average everyday guy. He looks like that little tiny guy at work that you can say whatever you want to him, and he's just going to be like, okay, and he's not going to do anything. So we'll see.
This red light. This side of the headphones stopped working. This one works fine. You see this?
Hold on. I wasn't looking at you. So you said the red light, right?
See the red light? I don't know why it does this sometimes. It stopped working this side, but this side's good. I can still hear you on the right side. So
okay. Well, I've got a big enough mouth. You only need one ear to hear me, so it's okay.
So no, Braves out, Cubs out.
Okay, Braves out, Cubs out. Dodgers, they have Andy Pages in center field, 13 home runs, 50 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, and wouldn't make near the money that Mike Trout would make. Do you still think they might move him for a Mike Trout guy?
No, I don't see it. I think Pages is being very good. I think the Dodgers are set in the outfield.
Okay, So then let's go with the Padres. Padres have Jackson Merrill in center field, 5 home runs, 21 RBIs, and 10 stolen bases so far this year when you kind of compare him to Andy Pajes.
No, Jackson Merrill, very good defensive player. No, Padres. The Padres are tough because like there's always a rumor they want to cut payroll,
Mm-hmm.
and then they end up adding payroll a lot of times. So, but no, I think Jackson Merrill is their center fielder.
And I think Jackson Merrill he's a notch below PCA defensively, but he's not that far below him. And he gives you, a little bit more power, and a little bit more at the plate than what PCA does.
He's a very good defensive player, but I mean, PCA level is just a different level.
It is. PCA level is a different level. I know he's your guy and he's with the Cubs. I don't want to, swell your head too much, but PCA is a really improved player over the last couple of years.
His defense, his jumps on balls, it's incredible.
Yeah, I agree. So let's go with the Mets. The Mets have got a guy, A.J. Ewing, since Luis Robert Jr. is on the 60-day DL. So would they maybe, because they got Steve Cohen and almost as much money as God, would they think about trading with the Anaheim Angels?
If they were a contender, if they were any good, they're terrible. Then this would have made a ton of sense. But no, it makes no sense because they're not very good. I just do not see it unless they have some big turnaround, win like 16 of 20 or something like that. I don't see it. If they were one of the best teams in baseball, I could see it, but I don't think it's going to be the Mets.
But it's also your contract. You got to remember, Cheese. So it's not just what it's going to be this year. It is 5 years down the road, and they may try to build around him. You still don't think they can do it?
If the salary cap happens, if the DBA, if they do a salary cap, the Mets are going to have to cut payroll. So you're going to see a lot of teams who are over the luxury tax, like the Mets, like the Dodgers, probably not take on any more future payroll. They're worried they might have to cut payroll. So I do not see the Mets 10 games under 500 taking on any contract like that.
That's interesting. That's an interesting look
8
at.
games under 500. Sorry, they're only 8 games under 500.
Only 8.
They still suck, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there might only be 8 games under 500, but I think they're still last in that division. I mean, they would have
behind
to
the Marlins.
Yeah, they'd have to climb over everybody to get back in it. So I don't think they're going to do that.
They're 14 and a half games out of the Braves.
But the Braves have been unworldly, to give them their credit too. So
I know it's great, it's glorious.
I'm sure you love it, but they have been unworldly. I watched a lot of the time they played in Cincinnati, and Ronald Acuna Jr. just put them on his back and just started hitting home runs. And yeah,
boy, the Reds woke him up. He was not having the best year. They woke him up. Reds did salvage the series. They did win Game 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last team I'll look at in the National League, well, at least for this part of the exercise, Phillies. They've got Justin Crawford, son of Carl Crawford. He's young. He's batting like .214. He's a good defender, but he's just not giving them anything offensively. I don't think he's cutting it for them. Do you think the Phillies would be interested in adding the payroll, like you talked about earlier, to get a guy like Mike Trout in there?
This is such a perfect fit in every way possible. Their outfield is not very good. Brandon Marsh, Justin Crawford, Adolis Garcia. That's really weak. That's been a problem for them. Overall, their lineup, it's about haves or have-nots. So they can move Crawford over to one of the corner spots if they need to, and they can take the payroll as well. And he is from Southern New Jersey. He grew up a huge Phillies fan. So
correct.
This is such a perfect fit. This is, if they do move him, he will waive his no trade clause to play for his hometown team. So this makes so much sense. When I saw this, I'm like, yeah, this is the one team I could see this happening. And even though I think they're 9.5 games out, I had it up, but I went away from it. They're still above 500. They're still probably competing for a wild card spot. Yeah, they're 9.5 out, but they're 2 games over 500. So they're right there in the wild card. They could use another bat. They could use a boost in their lineup. So this would make a ton of sense. They're only a half game out of the Cubs for the last wild card spot.
They're closer than I thought they were. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to present to you. I think of all the teams that we're looking at, the only team in the AL is the Yankees, and I'm not sure how much they're really going to want to take on more payroll. So I don't. I mean, 50-50 for the Yankees is where I'd probably place that at. The Phillies, I'm going to go a little more. I'd say probably 70-30 or so for the Phillies. But I also want to throw you a wild card 50-50 team in the National League as well. Here's the thing. Those teams that we've rattled off, let's say even if he went to the Braves or the Cubs or the Dodgers or the Padres or the Mets, he's not going to come into any of those cities and they're going to start just buying all of his stuff. And, because they've got other superstars on those teams. Same way with the Red Sox, same way with the Yankees, same way with any of these, the Blue Jays have their superstars already. They got Vlad Guerrero and everybody else, right? But a team that needs center field help and a team that is still in this wild card setting, even though they're in the National League West with the Dodgers and the Padres, if they were to bring Mike Trout in, I think he can generate them $30 or so million a year in ticket sales and in jersey sales and being able to structure stuff around him as the player. And they don't really have anybody else but Ketel Marte.
Wait, what about Ryan Waldschmidt? Young guy. He's doing well, right?
He is doing well, but I get what you're saying. I'm thinking if there's another team that can bring him in and Mike Trout can make a financial difference for them, it would be the Arizona Diamondbacks. You know where I'm going.
Well, they can move Waldschmidt to left field. I guess they have to, but
they can. He's played left field for them a little bit. Lourdes Gurriel got hurt and he played over there.
Lourdes Gurriel, I was going to ask you who the left fielder was. It was okay. And of course, Corbin Carroll's in right field. He just gets triples every at bat. So, no, I get what you're saying. Every once in a while, the Diamondbacks surprise you and will go up and spend money, but I don't see it. I don't think the Diamondbacks would make that commitment to a player that's already 34, isn't what he used to be. He's still a good player. I don't see it, but I get your reasoning. It would definitely they'd sell more tickets, let's put it that way, if they make this move.
Well, they made it to Carlos Santana at first base. They made that commitment to Nolan Arenado at third base. They like pitching and defense, and Mike Trout would give it to you.
Nolan Arenado is not costing that much.
He's not.
He's not.
Not near $35 million.
Arenado actually that's been a good pickup for them.
He has. He's been a good pickup for them.
I was surprised. I thought he was almost done.
I said, especially looking at how much he's costing them. That's a good pickup for them.
And Soroka's been a good pickup. They actually had a pretty good off season.
They beat the Dodgers yesterday. I don't know what they're doing right now with them, but they beat them yesterday. So
they're losing 4-1 in the fifth.
Okay, but they're 5 or 6 games over 500, so they're right there in the mix for everything else.
They're tied with the Phillies. I think they're a half game. Well, no, they're a wild card team right now. Yeah, I think
they're a wild card team right now.
Oh yeah, they're 5 or 6 games. Oh yeah, they're in. They're in the wild. If the season ended today, they would be a wild card team.
Yep. So maybe. You never know. So you're saying there's a chance. All right, buddy. The last thing we're going to do here on the Lights Out Sports podcast, we're not going to do a top 10. We're going to wait and do those more when I come back, unless, you and Sirhan or possibly you and Mr. First Down can work out something between the two of you to do for a top 10 list while I'm gone. I don't have a problem with it. So, do what you guys want to do. It's
fun.
We're
going to get at you. We're going to do top 10 assistant special teams coaches. And so you'll be mad because you want to do that top 10. So
I do.
Or top 10.
Can you do the top 10 kickers and punters? That way I can watch you go crazy on the show?
No, top 10 long snappers in the NFL. That's what we're going to do.
Okay. Yes. Sounds great. So we're going to wrap everything up here with our batting cleanup as presented by ForwardFan.com. We got a graphic for ForwardFan.com today. Let's put this up here. This is what we can do, right? Biggest risers and biggest droppers here. So because of the week that has been put out, the Mariners have risen $35 for those tickets. They're $305 a piece. The Yankees are now onto a wait list, and they're at $815 a ticket because of the week that they had. The Brewers, of course, we'll talk about them and what kind of great week they've had. They're up $25 to $140. And then you'll look at the biggest droppers here. The Tigers dropped down $25 to $40 if you believe in them still. The Cubs have dropped. This is the time. This is the time to get your Cubs. They've dropped down to $200 even. They were at $225 last week, and the A's have dropped 15 down to 55. So you can go to forwardfan.com, use the code what's all gloves off? What's the letters for that? So AGO10. So all gloves off 10. It's abbreviated with AGO10, even though I can't remember what it's abbreviated as. And you can use that and get 10% more off of what you get here this week. So there's your risers and fallers with forwardfan.com. What they are, for those of you who may not know, first time to the show, we love all of you. You can get World Series tickets and lock in your prices for every team in the AL and NL, and there's 6 of them right there in front of you. Cheese, what about your Cubs here?
Oh, I'm not surprised it's gone down. Here's the thing. This is the time to buy the Cubs. They're playing the A's. They lost tonight. Okay. But then they're about to play the Giants, about to play the Rockies, about to play the Blue Jays, who are actually 3 games below 500. Blue Jays have been disappointing. So they're going to play, I think, the 2 series with the Giants and 2 with the Rockies in the next month. So this is the time to buy the Cubs. They're never going to be this cheap because it's probably going to turn around. Edward Cabrera is coming back. Justin Steele should be back within 3 or 4 weeks. So this is the time, Cubs fans, only $200 for World Series tickets. It's the time to buy right now. So, yeah, get your tickets. Yeah, that's
all right. Forwardfan.com.
And don't buy the Brewers because why would you? Because they always disappoint in the postseason.
Very true. Very true. All right. Again, forwardfan.com. You can use our code AGO10 and get 10% more off of those tickets. All right, buddy. So here's what we're going to do. A few kind of wrap up things here with MLB over the last week that I think we need to talk about for just a moment. First, the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's talk about them for a moment. We'll put a nice shot of them up here on the screen for us, the Milwaukee Brewers. What they have done in the month of May is amazing. They are 19-7 in the month of May, a 2.52 ERA, which is the best in baseball. They had 7 series wins and 3 series sweeps in the month of May. Talk about the Brewers for a second, buddy.
They've been playing amazing. They were in last place, I believe, when the month started. Now they're in first comfortably. I think they're 4 or 5 games up. But Jacob Misiorowski has been huge. He's been almost unhittable. He misses a ton of bats. He's been dominant. He and Christopher Sanchez, the Phillies, you can't hit them. You can't. I've watched them both play multiple times this month. It's like they miss bats. Like good hitters can't hit them. So every time they play, every time he pitches, they're probably going to win. So imagine knowing that 20% of the time you're probably going to win. That's helpful. And they've been much better. And they had a little trouble with the bats early on, but they're starting to hit a little better. So yeah, Brewers. But we know how baseball is. Sometimes you look amazing one month, next month it can change.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. But they honestly swept the Cubs. They looked amazing this month.
They need some thunder in that lineup, though. They're last in home runs, just so everybody knows. I think they need some thunder in that lineup. So
they do. They always need another bat. They always have, and they won't go out and get it in the postseason. And we saw last year's Dodgers; they couldn't score. They could not score in that postseason. They got swept.
Right. Okay. I completely understand that. So that's our single, the Milwaukee Brewers, the double that we'll wrap up everything with here, where we're batting clean off at forwardfan.com. As of yesterday, the White Sox are 32-27. In 2024, they were 32-111. So if the Chicago White Sox lose their next 83 games, they would still have a better record than they did in 2024. I just had to throw that out there. Crazy stat. I saw it and I was like, no way. There is no way that is true. It is. It is absolutely true. I guess that shows you how bad the White Sox have been, or does it show you how the White Sox have improved, Cheese?
But they were a joke. They were a meme. It was pathetic. They actually lost 2 straight. They were I think they've lost 2 straight, but it just shows you they've really improved as an organization. I think they've got younger. I think they're finally starting to develop some prospects. That was their biggest problem. They weren't developing well in the farm system. They're starting to do that much better. So they're not a joke anymore, and they're in second place. So they're right in it for potentially making the postseason, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. All right, that's our double. Our triple here, batting cleanup, presented by ForwardFan.com, is this. Luis Arraez is the second Major League player in the last 50 years to enter the month of June with at least 70 hits and single-digit strikeouts. The other player...
You want me to guess?
You want to take a guess? I didn't put it on the notes on purpose.
There are 2 people I'm thinking of, like Tony Gwynn and Ozzie Guillen. Maybe there's the 2.
Yeah, one of them.
It's one of them. It's either Ozzie Guillen. Do I have to pick Tony Gwynn? I'll say Ozzie Guillen.
Okay, it was Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn.
So close.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's an amazing stat. Luis Arraez has, he's only the second player in the last 50 years, 70 hits. And the part that I think is more impressive than anything else, single-digit strikeouts going into the month of June.
That's
Him
insane.
and Tony Gwynn. That is insane. All right, and our home run.
It's like hard to do. Like you're bound to like get a bad call from an umpire. I guess you can challenge now, or just guess wrong. Like it's not. You're gonna run into some strikeouts, but he just doesn't. Like he always makes contact. His hand-eye coordination is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. I would love to have him on the team. I mean, I know he doesn't hit for power, but he's playing a really good second base right now. He's playing much better than I think people gave him credit for.
So he's improved defensively because that was a big problem in Miami. His defense was bad at second. Okay, good for him.
Yes, I agree. Good for him. And then the last one, I had to put this as our home run. Last week we had Michael on from at Diablos005. It's spelled Diablos 005. He talked about the Arizona State things with us. We did all things Arizona State football, and we touched on a little bit of baseball. This shouldn't just be a home run. This, ladies and gentlemen, should be a grand slam. Against Nebraska a few days ago, Arizona State baseball men's team hit a grand slam, and they now lead the entire nation. They have hit 12, Cheese. They've hit 12 grand slams this year as a team. That's an amazing stat, especially for college baseball. 12 grand slams in a season. What do you think about that, buddy?
Do you know how many games? That's like college, but they don't play like nearly as many games as MLB.
Right.
That's
right.
insane. Like, I don't know if you can. How many at bats do they even have with the bases loaded? Like 12 grand slams? I saw that and I'm like, yes, I did look at some of the notes. I saw that and I was like, no way. There's no way. No way. Wow. Now is baseball? I mean, you probably is college baseball in the College World Series yet?
Not yet. So Arizona State's played 59 games, by the way, and so far in the 2026 season.
So every 5th game, they hit a grand slam.
Yep.
That's insane.
Crazy.
Okay, so it's not quite yet. Are they going to make the World Series? You know?
You know, I said last week when we were talking to him, I was going to try to carve out some more time for them, and I didn't. So I know they played Nebraska in the playoffs. I don't know if they made it. Someone can tell us maybe if they did. I don't know. I'm trying to. I just looked up how many games they had. So 59 games. Hang on. Let's see.
So there's no bracket yet, or is the wait? Okay, no, here it is. Okay. Baseball championship. Virginia's eliminated. My dad will be unhappy. That's his alma mater. Tennessee's eliminated. Well, crap. So here's who's left. Auburn, Ole Miss. Ooh, Auburn plays Ole Miss. Okay. Mississippi State plays Georgia. Wow. Okay, got rivalries. Texas plays Oregon. North Carolina plays USC. Troy plays Little Rock. Virginia was probably the number 1 seed in that region and lost. Alabama plays St. John's. Oklahoma plays Kansas. West Virginia plays Cal Poly. Cal Poly always seems to have some people drafted, so that shouldn't be surprising. So that's who's left. So Arizona State looks like was eliminated.
Yeah, they were eliminated on, let's see.
In the Lincoln region
May 31st.
It says the Lincoln region with Nebraska, South Dakota State, Ole Miss. Ole Miss won that
Ole
region.
Miss eliminated them. In 10 innings, Ole Miss beat them 5-4, so eliminating them from the tournament. So.
Okay.
So
who you got?
Overtime game, and they did well. That's
We
fantastic.
got 16 teams left. Who you got? Who's going to win it all?
I don't know enough about college baseball to give you a prediction.
You could pick one. You going to pick Cal Poly?
You know what? I will. Let's pick the underdog. I like it. Like you said, though, Cal Poly almost always has someone drafted. So, yeah, let's go Cal Poly.
Give me the Ducks. I'm going to take Oregon. Give me the Oregon Ducks to take it all.
All right. We'll have to confer in a couple of weeks and figure out who did. Now, I love to watch. I don't love to watch college baseball as far as like all the time, but once it gets to the tournament, I'll watch the tournament over the weekend. So I'll try my best to watch some. I just wish Arizona State would be there. They are not going to be. All right, buddy. Hey, that's the show. You want to add anything to the end out of all the topics that we've talked to? Did I miss something? Do we need to correct something? What we got?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Good enough.
Excellent.
But
I was afraid this one was going to last a really long time because, we're not going to talk to each other for a couple of weeks, but it didn't. Right at 2 hours, bud.
Yeah, I'm going to say enjoy vacation and enjoy the break, and I hope you have fun. Hope you enjoy the road trip, and it'll be weird. I've never done this show without you, so that will be definitely strange.
Yeah, Sirhan will be great with you on next Tuesday. Same bat channel, same bat time. And then we will also do that with Mr. First Down the following week. So I'm looking forward to both of those, and I appreciate it. I am looking forward to taking a little bit of a break. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, poor Mike." But it is a grind to kind of do the regular job and then do this job and then try to spend some time with family and stuff like that. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm not going to do too much. The Twitter account won't be as active as it has been. I'll still be on it some. But I told my wife that I was going to concentrate on her for the next couple of weeks, and that's what I plan on doing. So,
and she's in charge.
She's in charge. And for those of you who are married, we need to do that every once in a while. So, so you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitch now, and you can also find us here on our X accounts as well. Certainly, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're not doing that comment. You bunch of crazy people. You should know that by now. So we
was it
are
a Bears troll. Was it a Bears?
Somebody, I don't know, whatever. I guess we're popular enough that people are wanting to troll us, which should be a good thing. We're popular enough to where people are wanting to come on the show. We're popular enough for that. And when we come back, we might come back with a different intro. I don't know. I'm working on it. It depends on how much I work on stuff on vacation. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll see. Okay, so Mike teased it, so everyone's going to be expecting a new intro. Just throwing it out there.
All right. Again, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Cheese, thank you. I'll see you in the next few weeks on YouTube is how I'll see you. And then we'll come back in person 2 weeks later.
Yep. It's, enjoy it. And I will actually be away the week after next, but I'll still do the show from my parents' house in 2 weeks. So
okay. You're more dedicated than I am. I got it.
I will still do the show. Me and Mr. First Down. We will focus in 2 weeks from tonight. If you're a big football fan, we will talk a lot about football because our channels are all about football.
Right. I'm sure they will. So look forward to that. Look forward to Sirhan next week. And, just look forward to Cheese the entire time. Maybe he can make his headphones a little larger so, all that knowledge doesn't make the headphones fall off of his head. So
I lost this side. It turned red. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, there's a couple times where you've faded out a little bit and it's been a little hard to hear you, but we're good.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe this isn't working well. Okay.
That's
well,
all right.
whatever.
Yeah.
These headphones, I need new ones probably. Yeah.
Yes, you probably do, sir. Anyway, thank you guys very much for being with us. We certainly appreciate it. And as we always say at the end of every broadcast, the only thing that's fair in life is a baseball hit between the third and first base lines. Good evening, everyone.